Welcome back to Complex Cartoon Culture Conversations. I am your host, Nathaniel Edwards. Today we are going to be exploring one of the more delicate cultures, and that is the culture of a classroom. Now, as you can see in our cartoon thus far, we have a classroom, and every classroom needs a teacher, and every teacher needs some students. Teachers and students are the brain and the heartbeat of a classroom. A good classroom needs well-functioning students and well-functioning teachers in order to survive. Because they are the most important part of the classroom, the way that these two entities interact make up the most important part of the culture in a classroom. Now, if we see one of these students is looking pretty confused, they might not know what's going on in the classroom. And usually if one student's confused, there's another one that's just as confused. And sometimes a student can get so confused that they get to the point of frustration where they're not even thinking about the work. They're just thinking about how frustrated they are. Now, when a teacher sees this, it is vital in how they react to it. Let's see how this teacher reacts to it. This teacher chose to get angry. Now we have a group of students that are confused and or upset, and a teacher that is getting increasingly frustrated because of it. According to Culture Recharged, it is always the adult in the room that sets the culture. So what the teacher does next is vital. Let's see what the teacher does next. The teacher decides to insult the students by saying things to them like, they're not trying hard enough, or they're not listening well enough, or, why have you even showed up today? Now things are really tense, and our classroom has now become metaphorically empty. I think it's time we zoom in on this weird looking clock here and actually see what that clock represents. The actual hand of this clock is a word. For those of you that can read the word, we have written the word on the ceiling for you. In our cartoon classroom today, the teacher decided to look at their students through a deficit lens by insulting them and questioning their abilities. This created a classroom culture that is weak, one in which the students feel as though the teacher is being hostile, and the teacher feels as though the students are not trying well enough. All in all, it's a culture that no one wants to be a part of. Let's go back and look at our clock for a second. The hand in our clock is an ambigram for the word relationships, meaning it is a word that looks the same upside down as it does right side up. If you have had poor relationship building techniques in your classroom for a long time, it's sometimes hard to see whether your relationships are upside down or right side up, whether you have a positive relationship or a negative relationship. Our creative minds here at Complex Cartoon Culture Conversations decided to plot this word on a clock for this classroom. According to Culture Recharged, creating a classroom culture can take a lot of time. And as you can see, the hand on this clock has been spinning like crazy during this entire podcast. Think about how long it actually would have taken a teacher to develop a poor relationship with those students. This has been Nathaniel for Complex Cartoon Culture Conversations. Thank you.